Hi folks, this is video number 190 and the title is My Little Sister. My sister's name, Deborah Ruth Beyer, and her married name was Welsh. We were always thankful to our parents for having us. Mom was in an explosion of a munitions plant in Maryland during World War II, and she sustained heart damage. They told her she really shouldn't have kids. Six years after they were married, they had me. 3 years after that, they had my little sister Debbie. If I remember right, she weighed like 5.5 pounds. Something like that when she was born. This picture shows Mom holding Debbie. Picture says she was 4 weeks old. Dad always said I had the same hat size since I'm 3. Looking at this picture, I guess he was right. Most of the pictures I found don't have any dates or places, no information on them. This one was one Deb sitting in a chair getting a little sun sometime. This is another picture, no information on it, but I can't for the life of me figure out what's on top of Deb's head. This picture says 1956. So Deb wouldn't have been, he would have been what, 56? 4 years old. That would have been me giving her a kiss goodbye the first day of school. Me and my trusty Davy Crockett lunch pail. This is a picture of our first above-ground swimming pool. You know, the kind that looked like a big plastic inner tube with a bottom in it. This picture said 1959. And we were outside bundled up, must have been a little cool. And we were playing fireman with my pedal-driven little red fire truck. Now that's a picture of summertime. I don't know what year. I don't know why Debbie was in the playpen. Maybe she got into trouble she couldn't blame on me. It was around this time I learned a very valuable lesson. Debbie had a little sundress on and the back was scooped out, you know. A lot of her back was showing. And I was digging worms. Found a few worms, and holy smoke, this big night crawler showed up. I took that night crawler and for some reason I threw it on my sister's back. She went screaming bloody murder. And Mom came out with the yardstick. Back in those days, yardsticks were pretty thick, like a 1/4 inch or better. Mom broke that yardstick twice, whooping my butt. And obviously it was memorable. This picture says 1957. But Deb would have only been 5 years old, so I guess we were going someplace. It's not a school picture. We didn't have kindergarten, so she wouldn't have been going to school. Well, I'm not sure what the date is on this, but sometime in the summer, backyard. Debbie's got a pair of pedal pushers on and a short sleeve shirt. You can see her ponytail. I'm not sure what birthday this is, but she looks about the right size. Back when I was 13 and she was 10, and Kung Fu was the going popular show every week on TV, I was teasing her outside in the yard one day. I'm teasing her pretty good. And she turned around and punched me in the guts so hard, knocked the wind out of me. And while I was bent over, she interlaced her fingers, did a double fist thing, and gave me a karate chop on the back of the neck. And the next thing I knew, I woke up with my face firmly planted against the ground, and my hands by my side. And the worst feeling ever, I had grass up my nose. There's another picture. I have no idea where we were or where we were going. Could have been going to church. Hard to say. But we're looking pretty good there. This is Deb surrounded by two nice cars. A 66 Chevy Impala she's standing next to is the car I had just bought and only made like 2 or 3 payments on it. And I got drafted. My dad ran that car till the bumper actually fell off in the yard. The car in the back is my 65 Delta 88. I used to run back and forth from Virginia, and we got that after Louise rolled her 1968 Impala Super Sport. It was a beautiful car. Never figured out how she did that. Hooked it into the bank somehow over by Lake Paper, flipped it up the bank, and then it rolled back down and set on the driver's door out in the middle of Route 6. Bent everything but the back left hubcap. What a mess. Of course, I wasn't home for her senior year or for her graduation. But this is a picture of her in her graduation gown in high school. I was in Phu Loy, Vietnam. After high school, Deb got a job at Johnson Shoe Factory in Tunkhannock. That's where she met Tommy Walsh. They worked there for a number of years, but then Johnson started shipping their work overseas, and they ended up closing the plant. So Tommy went and signed up for truck driving school, got his CDL, and he and Debbie both got a job over here at East Benton at Penthouse Meats. Debbie was working the meat room, did packaging for like frozen hamburgers and minute steaks, that kind of thing. And Tom was driving truck for him, delivering to New York City and a few other places. This is another picture with Tommy in it. He's on the left there. Then there was brother-in-law Phil, and my dad, and my stepmom Winnie's younger brother Harold, also known as Uncle Hickey. I have a tough time with this picture because I'm the only one still standing. Maybe someday I'll put some stories out about Tom. He pulled all kinds of stunts over the years. Deb and Tom had one son, Adam. I had a number of things of him in it in videotapes, but they've all been degraded and I can't use them anymore. But I'd stick them in here. It's the only picture I could find of Adam. He's turned out to be a fine man. Responsible. Takes care of his money. Yep. Works hard, just like his dad. This picture was from a few Christmases ago. Adam turned into a good-sized fella. He's probably about 6 foot or so. And he does shave his beard off once in a while. I don't remember Deb and Tom ever going away on vacation anywhere. The more I thought about it, they took some time off once in a while, but stayed home. The only vacation, close to a vacation that I could think of was when they come out to Cincinnati, come to our wedding, Eileen and I. And we got married on the Cincinnati Belle River boat. My sister is the most generous person I've ever known. She helped people out in ways that I'm really not going to discuss here. As you can see here, she's peeling potatoes. She peeled potatoes for church functions, peeled potatoes for the fire company carnival. She probably peeled 1 million potatoes in her lifetime. Always got to go peel potatoes and onions somewhere. Yep, she supported a lot of people in a lot of ways. After Penthouse Meats, Debbie went to work at our local chain supermarket. as a greeter. She was a greeter for quite a while. And that's pretty much how she knows everybody in Wyoming County. From the greeter, she went to the bakery, and that's where she started working with Diane. Diane is the lady on the right side of the picture in the aqua top. The redhead in the front there, that's Karen. She's married to Lou, sitting over next to me, leaning up against the wall there. They were my neighbors for 20 years, Louise and I. We moved in next to them on Mother's Day 1973, so this is 2003, so we've been friends for 50 years. And there's Linda. Linda, her husband worked with Lou, and I know some of her relatives-in-law. My old buddy Jake. He's everybody's buddy. Everybody knows Jake. He could recognize Debbie's voice on the phone. I'd say, hey Deb, say hi to Jake. Oh, Jakey, how you doing? He'd come over and out come that big old sloppy tongue, and he'd just wipe it right up over my phone. Give Aunt Deb a kiss. He's 15 and a half now. My sister had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, a little over 10 years ago. I took her all her chemo treatments and all her checkups and everything. And she was cancer-free for 10 years. And she started having bleeding problems. She got checked out and turned out she had uterine cancer. Well, they scheduled her for a hysterectomy. She had that. A couple weeks later, she went back for checkup, talked to the doctor. And 2 days after she talked to the doctor, she started getting sick. Diane told me at lunch that she wasn't doing very good, so I went over to the house. Diane came with some drinks for her, Gatorade and Pedialyte, that kind of thing, because she wasn't eating or drinking. And she looked really bad. Talked with her for a little bit, and I asked her, I said, Deb, do you want to go to the hospital? And she said, maybe. Well, for her to say maybe, well, Diane called. We got the ambulance over, and we had to get her up and walk her out to the porch because there's no way to get a gurney in that little house. And we took her to the hospital. Did MRI on her and blood tests and stuff, and turned out somehow she picked up some kind of super contagious colon disease. And they're treating her for that. They put her in ICU. And the next day, Karen and Diane went down to see her, and she rallied some, even laughing a little bit and giggling, and she talked to Adam on the phone. I think she talked to Adam on the phone. Yeah, I didn't go down that day because I'd been up waiting well over 24 hours, and I just couldn't do it. But the next morning, I got a call from the doctor at 6:45. Your sister had a bad night. We just resuscitated her with CPR from cardiac arrest. So okay, I'll call her son and we'll be there as soon as we can. I called Adam, he was just coming out of work. He headed down, I headed down. I got there a little bit before him. And just as I walked in the room, she went into cardiac arrest the second time. And Adam was right behind me. He got to see how brutal that actually is. The doctor came out and he told us what was what. He said there's a faint pulse, he said, but he attributed it to the 4 shots of adrenaline they put into her heart while they were doing CPR. Oh, we went in and sat with her. And I asked the Lord, what do you want us to do? He told me to just hold her hand. I didn't say anything to Adam. I just got up and went around and held her right hand, and he reached up and held her left. So I knew she was going. He was going to take her home. The nurse came in and checked her out a little bit. And the nurse went out. Another nurse came in, checked her out again. That nurse went out, and then both nurses and the doctor came in. The doctor checked her out. And she was gone. "9:35 in the morning, March 3rd, 2003, 23 rather. My sister was gone. I don't know at the moment whether somebody sent this to me or if I just stumbled across it, but it's a nice poem about this kind of situation. I think in a lifetime all of us could relate to this. The name of the poem is Missing You Always. You never said I'm leaving. You never said goodbye. You were gone before we knew it, and only God knows why. In life I loved you dearly. In death I love you still. In my heart I hold a place that only you can fill. It breaks my heart to lose you, but you didn't go alone. A part of me went with you the day God took you home. As I said, my sister was the most generous person I've ever met. The door was always open, always volunteering. And unfortunately, there's some people took a big advantage of her too. That was the crappy part. But she's a much better person than me. I wouldn't have put up with some of the stuff she did. Wouldn't have happened. So, I guess this concludes my tribute to my little sister. I really miss not being able to call her every once in a while. We used to talk 3 or 4 times a week sometimes. I'd find something on TV or something I know she was interested in. I'd reach for the phone and go to call her. Now I can't. I miss her. Well, this is the end of this one. And as always, folks, I wish everyone all the best.